All right, let's dive into a book that has, no joke, changed millions of lives. We're talking about Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. And its goal is actually pretty simple, but it's so profound. It's all about showing you a direct path to ending your own suffering, and it all kicks off with one single, really powerful question. So, Toll starts with a question that, let's be honest, probably hits home for just about every single one of us. Is there a constant narrator in your mind? You know the one. It's always commenting, worrying, judging, and just rehashing things over and over and over again. Well, there's actually a name for this voice. Tolle calls it the compulsive thinker. And the thing is, we're all so used to it, right? We just assume, oh, that's just me, that's who I am. But Tolle suggests it's actually more like a collective affliction, an involuntary habit that's basically running our lives. And listen, this isn't some harmless little habit. Just let that quote sink in for a second. A tormentor. Seriously, think about it. Is that voice in your head really your friend? Or is it maybe your own worst enemy, just causing all this misery and unhappiness from the inside out? This brings us to what is probably Toll's most revolutionary idea. I mean, it completely reverses how most of us see ourselves. He argues that to find freedom, you have to first understand one fundamental truth. You are not your mind. For centuries, so much of Western thought has been built on this super famous foundation from René Descartes. We've all heard it, right? I think, therefore I am. We've basically been taught that our ability to think is the very definition of our existence, of our identity. But Tolle comes along and just flips that completely on its head. He says this isn't the most fundamental truth, it's the most fundamental error. So if your identity isn't your thoughts, then what in the world is it? And this is where we get to the core distinction. There's the thinker, that's the noisy, compulsive stream of thought. But behind it all, there's always the watcher. That's the silent awareness that is aware of the thought. That, Tolle says, is your deeper, true self. So here's the absolute key takeaway. Liberation, real freedom. It begins the very moment you realize you are not the voice, but the one who hears the voice. You are the awareness in which all the thoughts are just happening. Okay, so what's the downside? What happens when we stay trapped in that error, when we really believe we are the thinker? Well, the consequence is the buildup of what Tolle calls the emotional pain body. Think about it like this. Every single emotional pain you've ever experienced that wasn't fully faced and accepted, well, it leaves behind a little bit of residue. And over time, all that residue clumps together and merges into its own energy field, kind of like a psychic parasite that lives right there in your cells. And this thing, this entity, it has one primary goal: survival. That's it. It can lie dormant for a while, but then it gets triggered by a stray thought or maybe just an innocent remark, and bam, it awakens and takes you over. And to survive, it has to feed. And this quote illustrates its strategy perfectly. The pain body can't feed on joy. So when it takes over, it creates situations, arguments, drama, self-pity that generate more pain, which is its favorite food. It's just a self-perpetuating cycle of suffering. Man, that sounds like a prison, right? But here's the good news. Tolle provides a single, elegant key to unlock it. The escape route isn't in the past or the future. It's hidden right here in plain sight. It is the present moment. He shares this wonderful little parable to explain it. So picture this. There's a beggar, and he's been sitting on this same old box by the side of the road for more than 30 years, just begging from strangers. One day, a stranger walks by, and instead of giving him a coin, asks about the box. Have you ever looked inside? The beggar just dismisses him, saying, nah, what's the point? It's just an old empty box. But the stranger persists, so the beggar reluctantly pries open the lid. And inside, he is just astonished. The box is filled with gold. He had been sitting on this incredible wealth his entire life without even knowing it. And Toll draws the parallel. He says, I am that stranger, telling you to look inside yourself. That treasure, that gold, is the deep, unshakable peace and radiant joy of being that can only be found when your attention isn't totally lost in thought. And here's the thing. The only place to access that inner wealth is right here, right now. The present moment is the only thing that is ever real. It's the portal out of the mind-made prison and into real freedom. So that sounds great, but how do we actually do this? How do we find that gold? Well, the practice itself is pretty simple, even if it's not always easy. It's all about learning to watch the thinker.
So here's a practical breakdown. Step 1, just start listening to the voice in your head impartially. Step 2, witness it, like you're a neutral observer. Remember, you're not the voice, you're the awareness behind it. 3, and this is crucial, don't judge or condemn what you hear. And finally, number 4, start to notice the silent gaps between the thoughts.
Those gaps, they are everything. For a moment, that compulsive stream of thinking just stops. This is what Tolle calls a moment of no mind. And it's not about being blank, it's about being pure, alert consciousness, just without all the noise.
And this state is one of heightened aliveness. You're not zoned out at all. You are actually more present and more awake than ever before. This is where your true intelligence, your creativity, and your peace are all waiting for you.
See, every single time you notice a gap, or you just watch a thought go by without getting swept away by it, you're withdrawing energy from that compulsive mind. You are reclaiming your own consciousness. And that, right there, is the path to dissolving that inner tormentor for good. Which really leaves us with the central question of the entire book, a possibility to just hold in your awareness. What would your life be like? Your relationships, your work, your whole state of being, if you are no longer a slave to that voice in your head?